Welcome to Bon MOTS, where we'll be applying the Manzer or Mosi Thurlow skill of quantitative analysis of pop culture narrative through a binary system.
MOTS!
This podcast contains spoilers, mature content, and language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome back to MOTScars 2017. I am here for the second year in a row with Morgan Goldin, filmmaker, writer, podcaster, and
Friend of us and friend of the show.
We're here to basically do an Oscar roundup, so thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I guess we can pretty much just jump right into it. I wanted to start off where we started off last year, actually, and talk about the Oscar So White controversy that was last year, and it to some degree, the Oscars kind of turned it around this year. I want to, a little bit, and I want to kind of ask what you think about what's going on with all that, and perhaps ways that the Academy or Hollywood still needs to improve on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've definitely opened up their selection of nominees to be more inclusive of diversity within the talent pool. But I don't want people to think like, oh, we did our job, no problems ever again. It's clearly what happened the last 2 years could very easily happen again. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to get complacent as if it's like, well, we fixed racism in the movie industry, so there's nothing left to do. But it's great to actually see all these like artists of color get celebrated for their craft. Especially there was a really strong crowd this year, and it would have even been more foolish to try to ignore any of that.
Right. I think there were a couple strong movies last year, but this year it seems to have blown it away in terms of black representation. And on another couple of minority groups, I think that they were weaker, or Hollywood in and of itself was weaker this year, and I think I want to talk about that a little bit.
I mean, there's always work that's going to need to be done. It's not like, just by throwing a few nominees this way, it's solving a problem. In fact, Asian and Latino representation is still horribly underrepresented throughout the industry in terms of like behind the camera, in front of the camera, just all across the spectrum.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Although I will say, the nomination of Dev Patel for Best Actor in Lion is quite a surprise. Like, off the top of my head, I can't even think of a actor of Asian descent that would who has gotten nominated within the last, I don't know, 20 years, maybe even longer. Who knows? Was
he wasn't nominated for Slumdog Millionaire when that came out?
Oh, you know what?
Because I know that was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, but I don't think it got any of the acting awards. I think it got like Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, but I don't know though.
Okay.
I feel like I would have remembered if that was the case, but I'm 50-50.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah, but that's the only other one that I can really think of, and that, that's kind of, it's kind of, I guess not strange, because a lot of those roles that could be played there are going to other people, which we'll talk about in a little bit, actually. But let's jump into the actual selections for and nominees for. I guess we'll start off with Best Picture. So 9 movies nominated this year: Arrival, Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight. The first question I got to ask you is, what's your favorite that you've seen?
Oh, easily Moonlight, by far. Full disclosure, I've only seen 5 out of the 9. I haven't seen Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, or Lion yet, but I have seen the other 5. Very strong crop, but I got to give it to Moonlight. Like, that movie, I feel like you've never seen anything like it. It was such a breath of fresh air this past year.
It was incredibly good. And I guess what I can say, as far as one of the ones that you haven't seen anyway, is that Fences, I thought was a brilliant movie, brilliantly acted, and just a really good, it's a play though. It's a really good play. And
so is Moonlight.
Yeah, I know, but Fences is a play that's on screen. Moonlight is more of a screenplay that was based off of, there's like 3 or 4 locations in Fences, and that's it. But I will say that cast really blew it away in that. And definitely check it out. I know you will.
It's on my list.
Yeah.
Definitely on my list.
So of the ones that you saw, where do you rank them, I guess? Or
in terms of like favorite to least favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good question. I haven't actually thought about that.
That's the way we do it here on MOTS.
Appreciate that. Okay. Like I said, first one, Moonlight Manchester by the Sea, Arrival, La La Land, Hidden Figures.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's about my pick. Sorry to jump in, but this is Scott. I'm somewhat in the background here engineering, but since Morgan...
Don't be shy, Scott. Please jump in.
Morgan's friend of the show, and I know I'm sort of hijacking Steve-O's normal on the horn business, but nevertheless, I do wish to talk to you about this quickly. I saw Fences first, and then I thought it was amazing. Probably the best film I saw at the point. Then I saw Moonlight, and I was like, I have to give it to Moonlight.
You got to give it to Moonlight.
So I'm just saying that's sort of how it went. Like, and I think I brought this point just real quickly on our wrap up that depending the order you see the movies, that might color your opinion. So
no, that's true, especially whatever's newer, and that probably translates to Oscar viewers too, which is why we just get a deluge of great movies the last 2 weeks of December, and it's like I got to see everything.
Scramble to see everything.
So that might not really be fair.
Sure, that's definitely what we did, but yeah, maybe it's sort of the ingrained, part of the system. But I certainly get that. So
I was gonna ask you if there were any of the ones that you saw that you weren't a huge fan of, but of those movies, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get a yes on that question.
Okay, I love the first three. I thought those were like exceptional movies from this past year.
Yeah.
La La Land, we could talk more about later.
Yeah.
I know that's
I'll
contentious
certainly
on this
join
show.
that conversation.
Oh, no. I wasn't the biggest fan of La La Land either.
I like it.
We'll get to it.
It's a fine movie, but I think both sides of the divide, it's not best picture, but at the same time, because it's being positioned as the not Moonlight movie, I don't think it should be the epitome of white supremacy in entertainment either. Like, it's kind of like if you're voting for this movie, you clearly don't care about problems in the real world. I'm like, no, it's a movie as it's like a cupcake. It's just a light, airy snack. It's entertaining. It's spectacle, but it's weightless.
Yeah.
It's a fine movie on its own.
Maybe you cut your tooth at the end. You're like, it's still an okay cupcake.
So maybe, so Hidden Figures you put as
below that. Yes.
Not a big fan of Hidden Figures, or?
I like the story that it told. I just wish it was executed with better direction and a better script. The acting was phenomenal.
I believe we said that ourselves, did we not?
Well, something similar. I think.
I'm not trying to crib from what you said.
No, it's cool. I'm just saying we agree upon that because that's what I took away from it, at least personally. I think on our review, P.S. check it out. I'm pretty sure we said something very much like that. So.
I think what we were saying is that so one of our questions when we go over movies is style. And we were like, the style on this was a little bit lacking, especially compared to some of the other Oscar movies. I really liked the story, like you said. And the acting was phenomenal. But
yeah, for sure.
It's an important story. I'm glad it's told. I just wish it was told better. Like, so many of the lines in the movie are just so on the nose to make sure that you're like paying attention to 8th grade history class.
Yeah.
Like in the first opening scene of the movie, after they explain to the cop who pulls them over, they work for NASA and he escorts them to help beat the Russians. Janelle Monáe has this line like, ladies, I mean, this is paraphrased, but like, she's like, ladies, it's 1961 and we're 3 black women in the South chasing a cop car. I'm like, you might as well look at the camera and be like, guess who the hidden figure is now? It was just so like, what is that line?
That's interesting because I don't know. I don't delve into like movie per movie, but I see what you're saying. But to me, I thought it was like a nice touch there. Like, I didn't like, get that necessarily out of it to that extent.
Like, I just feel like we got that exchange from actually watching it on screen. We don't need it underlined through an actual line of dialogue.
All right, fair enough. I guess in that view, I would agree. Like, you don't have to have the line; you could just have him being the scene. Sure.
Right, like enjoying it. It was like a wink to the camera.
I
guess.
Fair enough.
And other parts that really took me off, not to belabor too much on Hidden Figures, just the whole Kevin Costner white savior part. And those were the parts that actually didn't happen in history, like with Taraji P. Henson's character running to use the colored women's restroom. And then when he finds this out, as if he didn't know that that's what was happening, takes a crowbar to break it down. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I'm pretty sure NASA didn't have segregated bathrooms. I believe it's the actual story.
Well, actually,
I don't know that
I looked into it.
Sure.
They did, but the real woman didn't give a shit and just used it because she's like, I'm not running across the campus. Are you crazy? I did love her reaction to that scene where she gets to break down and explain to everyone how hard it is. And I thought that was a really powerful sequence.
Sure.
But the aftermath of that shouldn't be a white person bringing it down. I was like, it just felt so forced and unnecessary. I was like, ugh, I hate it. And like little touches like that really undercut the power of that movie, I feel.
That's a really good point.
I do want to ask Morgan about one thing, if you don't mind. You put Arrival at number 3, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Really? So I thought on our wrap up, I said, if not Hacksaw, Arrival could go off the list. Yes, it was a very good film, which I enjoyed. I just don't know if it was like Oscar caliber, especially given the field of this year. So you thought it was that strong? Is all I'm asking you.
Well, to answer your question, I don't know if you were asking what I thought was Oscar worthiness. I thought you were asking personal favorites of the one I saw while being a nomination.
That was definitely what I was asking.
I wouldn't put that as an Oscar nominee either, but then I wouldn't put 5 of those nominees as Oscar nominees. I have my other ones who I thought should have easily made that list, and we can touch upon that later.
And I definitely am going to ask you about those a little bit later on.
I really liked Arrival. I thought Arrival was like a really strong, low-key science fiction movie that we really don't see much of now.
Yeah. I said, I think that...
I'll agree with that.
When you said that, Scott, I think that I said that, and I think that Ian agreed with it, or I think Ian might have said it first, that Arrival was an important movie to have on there because it's a sci-fi movie, which you don't see very often in the Oscars. Not only that, but it's a strange take on a sci-fi movie. It's like a linguistic sci-fi movie, which is really cool and like it's just a really interesting take.
But it's so just even the tone, especially coming out in the same year as like the goddamn Independence Day sequel.
Sure.
Like if aliens had appeared, just the way had the coverage of the news, I was like, this is how it would go down. Just some people freaking out, some people just opening fire, some countries backstabbing each other. I'm like, it felt very plausible.
Sure. It was very realistically set up. I agree with that. Anyway.
All right. Well, let's move on to some of the other categories, and we'll circle back around to that in a little bit. But the next category, and I put this second for you, Morgan, because you are one of the only directors that I actually know and have directed, film and stuff. So best director. So this is Damien Chazelle
for La La Land.
For La La Land. Barry Jenkins for Moonlight. Dennis Villeneuve for Arrival. Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester. For Manchester by the Sea, and Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge.
Well, having not seen Hacksaw Ridge, I can't really comment on it.
Hack Director Ridge. That's what I call it.
Pretty sure we
suck it, Gibson.
We said that or use it as a descriptor.
As a funny aside to the whole thing with like Mel Gibson's comeback, the way they advertised Hacksaw Ridge, because he was kind of persona non grata in Hollywood, they didn't even mention his name. They just had the title of the movie, and I remember the title card and the trailer being from the director of Braveheart, and it's like, well, what if someone doesn't know who directed Braveheart?
Yeah,
it was just so.
I did not notice that, but I do now retrospect because you're right. I'm like, when we saw it, like Mel Gibson directed it. Really?
But there was no mention. And it was like trying to fool audiences. And now it's like, oh, it's okay to come back.
Yeah,
sure, I guess.
What do you think is your pick in this category?
Easily Barry Jenkins.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I liked, actually, the only one that would even come close is probably Lonergan because I loved the direction of Manchester by the Sea. But it just didn't do...
It just wasn't as good.
It didn't do what Moonlight did.
It's different styles. Like Moonlight's going for a more expressionistic feel and how it portrays like color scheme and production design, and everything more in Manchester is kind of a monochromatic palette.
Right.
Everyone is just like low-key browns and snow. You just feel like there's only 4 colors that existed in the whole movie, which is fine because it's going for a very morose like feel throughout it. So of course you want to reflect that in the visuals.
Yeah.
But I do like both Kenneth and Barry's work. Like, both don't have too many movies to their name. I have liked all their previous ones. Barry's before this was Medicine for Melancholy, which is a great movie. Came out nearly 10 years ago. And Kenneth's previous movies, You Can Count on Me, I loved it. I didn't see his follow-up, Margaret. And that one had an interesting history. It had like some kind of crazy decade turnaround in
production hell.
Yeah, exactly. And it only came out like 6 years after everyone shot it and forgot about it. But allegedly, according to Martin Scorsese, it's a masterpiece. So I've been trying to check it out.
Get your hands on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Dennis Villeneuve, if I'm even pronouncing that right, I'm kind of hot or cold on. I wasn't too crazy in the first movie I saw of his Prisoners. I actually hated that one. I did like Sicario a lot.
I haven't seen Sicario. I've been meaning to check that out for a while, yeah.
Prisoners, I was like, not feeling it. But then on the basis of Sicario and now Arrival, I am actually looking forward to seeing what he does with the Blade Runner sequel.
Yeah,
I know. I'm cautiously
so scared.
I'm the same way before Fury Road. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah,
I'm not going to expect amazingness, but at the same time, it's like...
If amazing happens, then okay.
Exactly. I'm an agnostic towards the Blade Runner movies.
Absolutely. That's director. Next, we got actor and actress in leading role.
Okay.
And so I guess we'll start with actor. Casey Affleck in Manchester by the Sea. Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge. Ryan Gosling in La La Land. Viggo Mortensen in Captain Fantastic, which I haven't seen yet and sounds awesome. And Denzel Washington in Fences.
Ooh. Strong category.
Yeah.
A couple notes on that. I haven't seen Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge. I did see him in Silence and feel, without having seen Hacksaw Ridge, he should have got the nomination for that.
For Silence instead?
For Silence.
I guess he was a fine actor in Hacksaw. Here's my take on this. He was a fine actor in Hacksaw Ridge, but it was just not a beefy role, I guess. Like, he did a fine job. And, you know, he did, I guess, better than I expected for Andrew Garfield to do. Like, coming off of, like, Spider-Man, I didn't really expect him to be a great actor, and he was fine. But actually, now that you say that, I guess I should check out Silence and see.
Silence is
how he
amazing.
does there.
I wish that got more love. I'm glad it got the cinematography nomination.
So it was like early on, at least early in the season, it was borderline maybe could be nominated, and then slowly lost steam. But we were considering seeing it for sure, I believe, as we discussed off cast. So
it's well worth it.
Yeah,
it's definitely well worth it. Like, Scorsese has two modes. Like, you know, obviously he's more known for his gangster one, but then he goes in a full-on religious fury, which you have like Last Temptation of Christ or Kundun. And I feel like this is a nice trilogy of religious fanatics, you know, facing all kinds of crazy torture.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It's well worth seeing.
So, I guess of the ones that you saw, did you see Captain Fantastic?
Mm-mm.
No, yeah.
I haven't actually.
Oh,
I do
no?
love Viggo Mortensen. I feel like he's always going to get nominated, but just, you know, he's not going to win.
Right.
The last time.
Well, it's going to be Casey Affleck or Denzel Washington, right? Like, that's pretty much what everybody's saying.
And which one would you personally
probably
pick?
deservedly
I haven't
so.
seen Fences. I feel like, I mean, from the trailers alone, and obviously Denzel Washington is Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Like, I can't not say that he's not going to get it. I did like Casey Affleck a lot in Manchester. There's an interesting pushback to Casey even being nominated.
I heard about that.
Basically all the sexual harassment charges. So, yeah, it'll be for a very interesting race.
I have to say, I think Denzel, like, I loved Casey Affleck's portrayal in Manchester by the Sea, all of his bullshit notwithstanding.
I'm sure he's a horrible human being. But
based on the acting talent that
phenomenal
we saw
actor
in these films.
And way better than I ever expected to see Casey Affleck act in that movie.
I like Casey Affleck, though. Here's the thing. Like, as an actor, I do like him. I think he's given strong performances in The Assassination of Jesse James versus the coward Robert Ford, Gone Baby Gone. He's just got a really strong body of work.
Yeah, fair enough.
Easily stronger than Ben's.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. But not stronger than Denzel Washington's, I would say. And I think that Denzel Washington just like turned on a different lever that you haven't really seen much of in this movie. He's like restrained through parts of it, and then just goes on to full Denzel, Denzel mode at certain points. And
I'm really excited to go see this movie because lately he's settled into this kind of like Liam Neeson old man action series. But Denzel Washington could play Malcolm X. Denzel Washington can do so many things, and I'd rather see him like stretch. And I feel like I was reading reviews where people said this is the first time he's actually playing an old man in this movie,
and he does stretch in it. So. It's gonna be over. Now,
I love how you didn't mention, even as a possibility, Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling did fine.
Yeah, I think another thing too with him and Emma Stone, like they were okay, but in terms of best acting, like I don't buy it from their two. They were good, they weren't great, and that's the thing. You know, they were competent.
If I may interject, I 100% agree with that. I believe I said very much that thing on both reviews, and also though about halfway through La La Land, I started imagining that he is the character from Gone.
From Gone?
Or
I think you said Drive in the
Drive,
episode.
Yes, Drive, that's right.
Well, I picture that for every Ryan Gosling movie.
Yeah, but it made it extra amusing to me because the film was okay at best, is all I'm saying.
He just beats in John Legend's face at one point.
Sure.
Like, I like him as an actor, but he should have been nominated for Blue Valentine. He should have been nominated for Place Beyond the Pines. This one, it's not on the caliber of those performances.
I would say that he was better in the first quarter to third of this movie than he was at the end, towards the end of it. I really liked him at first, and then I kind of just didn't care as much later on. But I mean, he was there, and hence my not really mentioning him because I think he's middle of the pack in terms of this group.
In terms of this crowd.
Yeah. And that moves us on to actress in a leading role, which you saw more of these movies than I did. I actually have only seen one of them.
Emma Stone for La La Land.
Which seems strange that all of the Best Picture movies, only one is Best Actress.
They don't correspond. And once we get into it, I feel a lot of those should have had more nominations to them.
But so there's Isabelle Huppert.
Huppert. For Elle.
For Elle.
Paul Verhoeven movie, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm dying to.
Yeah, Ruth Negga in Loving. which I really like her. I didn't see Loving yet, but I really
Loving
like her
was
as an
incredible.
actress. And
Loving
yeah.
should have definitely got more love, no pun intended, from the Oscars.
Yeah, I think that was on like the cusp for a while, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. I don't know why, but Natalie Portman for Jackie, which I heard was amazing.
Jackie's
I still haven't seen yet.
incredible. Jackie's amazing.
Emma Stone for La La Land, and Meryl Streep, as all every year Meryl Streep just gets nominated for something.
Right,
But
exactly.
for Florence Foster Jenkins,
Yeah, that's not up there on my list of movies to go see.
Yeah.
No offense. Love Meryl Streep, but it's like, all right, we get it. You're amazing.
yeah, you're the best, Meryl Streep. Okay, moving on.
But yeah, to me, the race is really coming down to, I don't know if they will get it, but I really feel like Natalie Portman for Jackie and Ruth Negga for Loving.
Yeah.
Those were some of like the most soul-searing performances, especially Ruth Negga in Loving. Like, she is the focus of the movie. Like, she is why that movie is so great. I'm glad that aspect is at least being recognized, but I really hope that she surprises everyone and takes it. Like, I think she was the best in this.
I guess I haven't seen her in much, but I did watch.
I know she's
Preacher.
in Preacher. Yeah,
I did watch Preacher, and she's great in Preacher.
I
She's
still got to
terrific.
catch up on Preacher.
And that's really like, I mean, I may have seen her in another movie or something that I'm not remembering, but
I feel like her scene partner Joel Edgerton should have got a Best Actor.
yeah,
No, easily over Ryan Gosling.
fair enough.
But they played so well against each other.
Yeah,
I think the reason that movie didn't take off as much is that it's a quiet movie about history. There's none of those like drawn out trial scenes with like the histrionics and the breakdown crying. It's a very low key, realistic and focused movie. So people mistake that for dispassionate, I guess. But I feel like it was really true to who these characters were.
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing.
Like, there's not a lot of emotional fireworks, but I feel like you don't need it with the course of history being changed.
Yeah,
And it just does it so subtly.
That is the emotional firework.
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Like,
exactly.
It had all the nuance that was missing from a movie like Hidden Figures.
I'm looking forward to seeing all of these, actually, except for Florence Foster Jenkins. I really don't care about that. But Elle, Loving, Jackie.
Elle looks crazy.
I want to see all
Elle
three
looks
of
like
those.
a crazy movie.
Yeah, I definitely. I've heard good things about every single one, and I heard, Natalie Portman in Jackie. I heard is like
That
phenomenal.
movie really surprised me too. Like, it's not a traditional biopic. If anything, it's done by this Chilean director Pablo Larraín, but it's produced by Darren Aronofsky.
Wow.
So some parts of the movie do feel like a psychological horror movie. Like, there's a scene where she's walking through the White House, but like right after the assassination, in that Chanel suit covered in blood.
Oh my god.
She looks like, but it's like this like pink suit against all this like white brown background. She just looks like a moving wound going from room to room. It's fucking crazy, but it's an amazing movie. It's an amazing performance.
That sounds
it's well worth it.
That sounds really really interesting. I've been looking forward to that for a little while. All right, well, let's move to best supporting. So we'll go with actor in a supporting role with Mahershala Ali in Moonlight, Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water, Lucas Hedges in Manchester by the Sea, Dev Patel in Lion, and Michael Shannon in Nocturnal Animals.
Well, right off the bat, I feel like Michael Shannon was the best part of Nocturnal Animals.
Absolutely.
So if anyone was to get recognized.
I want to say he was part of the best part, if that makes any sense.
Part of the best part. No, I get you. Yeah. I mean, that movie is definitely trying to tell like a narrative within a narrative.
Yeah.
But even within
one
that,
narrative is more entertaining than the other, is all I'm saying. And that's the one Michael Shannon is in.
But he just really tore into that grizzled cop role with such relish. Like the scene where he has the guys cornered and he's just like being so chummy with them. I was like, just really enjoying the scene. He's like, it was like a sticker. I'm going to steal that scene. I'm going to steal that scene. I'll take that too. Put that in the bag.
Yeah. But like so the one thing that I remember, we were quoting this for weeks after we saw the movie, and I honestly, I really didn't like Nocturnal Animals very much.
I did like it.
But the one scene and Michael Shannon, I thought was absolutely the best part of it. And I actually, I liked the story inside of it to a degree, breaking it down. Like, as I was thinking about it later, I liked it kind of less and less, but whatever. Michael Shannon, the scene where he gets out of his car and he starts like hacking up a lung. And
it's my favorite part too.
Yeah.
Or one of these.
And what's his face says
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal says, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And just keeps walking. I was like, "Oh man,
yeah,
that was
it's the perfect."
I can't do it any justice.
I do it in real life, like, because in all disclosure, Steve and I are smokers of cigarettes. So when I start sometimes having a small coughing fit, people are like, "You okay?" And I just spit in the ground and go, yeah, I'm fine.
So in a few years, when you're ready for your vengeance
I will beat
spree
Michael Shannon.
as you're struggling with cancer,
Indeed.
he's going to be your mentor.
Exactly.
Duly noted.
So you've seen 1, 2...
I haven't seen Dev Patel in line. I do
You've
like
only
him as an
s-
actor. I do like him as an actor. Out of the ones, Lucas Hedges really brought a lot of interesting parts to Manchester by the Sea. If anything, I think people really underrate how much of a comedy that movie can be.
Yes.
That's exactly what we
Even
said
in
at-
dealing
believe
with
we
such
said that, you
sadness, but
Yeah.
just his like sarcastic interactions with Casey Affleck really stole some of the, spotlight from that.
He was
movie.
really good, and I think he was almost like on level with Casey Affleck,
Yeah.
and like he was kind of the other side of Casey. Like he was like what Casey Affleck used to be. I want to say
A little bit.
like in that he brought like some levity to things. He was like chasing girls, and he was, he was kind of the human side of what Casey Affleck could have been,
Right.
which is
Like
at this point
pre-tragedy,
a dead husk.
Mhm.
And I thought he did a great job too. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's one thing. I know, Morgan, you haven't seen Hell or High Water, so Jeff Bridges, he plays basically the same style
Right.
character.
Like that's the thing. Like I love Jeff Bridges, but is it another
It's
true
been
grit
a running
grizzle?
joke of ours,
Yeah.
like which one plays the grizzled Texas detective better, essentially. But I think Michael Shannon does, in fact, he has my vote as well between them.
I liked him, but I do hope that Mahershala Ali
Yes.
takes it
Yeah.
overall. Like his character of Juan in Moonlight is incredible. You've never seen that type of character in a movie before. He just imbues it with so much humanity that even after the first act when he's gone, his presence just haunts the rest of the movie.
We said that very
Yeah.
same, I can believe literally those words, and that's how good he was in that film.
Absolutely. Like you think about him, the rest of it, and his like spirit reverberates. The only other movie I could think of, which he also acted in, was Place Beyond the Pines, which I don't know if you saw, but Ryan Gosling plays another troubled father figure in that. He makes an early exit, but you don't forget about him because he makes such a great impression early on. And it's kind of a similar feat that he pulls off in this. And I hope he gets recognized for it.
Yeah.
He's having a phenomenal year, and I hope this is just like the icing on that cake.
I hope it's just the beginning for him too.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't
Just the
wait to
start.
see. As Ian is fond of saying after every time we review something that he's been in, I can't wait to see what he's in next. I'm going to watch anything that he's in, basically.
Absolutely. Yep. Incredible acting.
All right, so I'll wait for that. Moving on to actress in a supporting role. So we got Viola Davis in Fences. We got Naomi Harris in Moonlight. We got Nicole Kidman in Lion. Octavia Spencer in Hidden Figures. And Michelle Williams in Manchester by the Sea.
All great. All great. Any one of them could take it, and I couldn't dispute what
Yeah.
they've done for it.
What's your pick, though? Like, what do you think is
That's a hard one. That's really a hard one, though.
like, if this is a horse race, as I always view the Oscars as such,
Right. I guess it would be
who should I bet in this race? Morgan?
either. I would split down the line half and half. Either
Okay.
Naomi Harris or Michelle Williams.
Really?
Yeah.
I would give it to either one of them.
So, like, here's why I can't give it to Michelle Williams.
Okay.
She's in the movie for like 5 minutes. She does a great job, don't get me wrong. But she's
It's not
she's,
the quantity, it's the quality.
She
though.
has literally one scene that is
brings it, yeah.
part of the movie, you know,
Right.
like, and it's a fantastic scene. It's an amazing scene that I don't even understand how they created so much tension with the words that those two characters were saying. But Casey Affleck at the top of his game, Michelle Williams at the top of her game. It was great.
Mhm.
But that's it for her.
I say this
And-
also as a caveat, having not seen Fences
Yeah,
or
that's
Viola
what I was
Davis.
going to bring
And
up.
Viola
Love
Davis-
Viola Davis. Trailer with sad, ugly cry face, everything. I'm sure she probably.
I think Viola Davis has to take it.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. And it's not a bad.
not
I'm
counting-
sure she gets it.
but counting the movies that you've seen,
hmm
you're saying, wait, I'm sorry. You said Michelle Williams or Naomi Harris?
Yes. I liked Octavia Spencer. Honestly, the best part of Hidden Figures, not to harp too much on it, was the acting. But I guess I would have put it to Taraji P. Henson,
Mm-hmm.
give her the edge a little
Yeah,
bit
she
more.
carried it more
Absolutely.
like Octavia, I agree. But yeah, I
Mhm.
guess we'll have to maybe just talk, even off cast as friends, when you see Fences, Morgan, because I would say Viola should.
I know. I really
Take it.
got to see that.
Yeah.
But if not her, like if I imagine myself not having seen Fences, then those would probably be my picks as well. Probably Naomi over.
I guess gun to my head, I'd pick Naomi too. And hearing about the behind the scenes of that, like she initially was so hesitant to take a part that on paper could seem like a cliche, like a crackhead mother.
Mm-hmm.
But she talked to the director, Barry Jenkins. And for him, he said that he also grew up in a household that was very similar to the character. And he didn't see her as a crackhead. He saw her as a woman suffering from addiction. And it's not like the addiction defines you.
Difference, yeah.
So his direction enabled Naomi to view the person as not just an utter monster, but actually find the shades of humanity within it that you feel sorry for her at the same time, fear her in equal measure. And I thought it was a great job.
Yeah,
I've been a fan of hers ever since 28 Days Later, so
she did do,
that'd be pretty
good
awesome.
in 28 Days Later.
She's not a bad M, so
yeah. All right, cool. So I wanted to mention animated feature, and you talked briefly about Kubo earlier, and I think probably the only reason that you haven't already seen it would be, my guess would be, is the controversy that was surrounding it regarding the quote yellow face casting, right? That they basically did. They had
for the voice work.
They had Ray Fiennes, Rooney Mara, Art Parkinson, Charlize Theron, and Matthew McConaughey all playing main characters.
Of
Now,
Asian descent.
Granted,
Because we're not
yes,
samurai. I think McConaughey.
Japanese characters. Now, granted, there were like basically every supporting role was played by Asian characters, but why weren't these main roles filled by Asian characters in that? This is really tough for me because I really love this movie and it's a really good movie, but I can see where that's a problem. You know,
you can only judge a movie for what it does, but at the same time, it's still a symptom of a larger problem. Like, I'm sure just even watching the few clips of it that I've seen, like visually it's amazing. And I'm sure the story is like very well written, but it's just unfortunate that the filmmakers didn't have the extra foresight to really make it something special in a way, which I haven't seen it. I mean, I guess it's like a somewhat quasi boycott. Not really. I'm sure as soon as it goes on Netflix or something, I'll probably tune in. I guess I just don't want to pay for it in a way.
Right.
And it wouldn't be such an issue if it just wasn't so prevalent. Like, think of every other big release movie coming out now.
Way. The fact that it's an issue is like the issue itself, kind of, right? Like if it was all like an equal playing field,
it's all about balance.
Yeah,
and there just right now isn't that. So the only way to show them that that's not going to fly is with your wallet.
That's fair.
Think of all the other movies that have come out and then are coming out. You got the Doctor Strange debacle with Tilda Swinton playing an Asian role, and everyone tried to play the card like, oh, it's more progressive. It's a woman now. I'm like, well, why don't you get Michelle Yeoh? If you want to go that route, there's easily tons of more than capable Asian actresses that could have really made that movie soar. I haven't seen Doctor Strange either. I have my own feelings about that. I'm sure it's got great special effects and whatnot, but at the same time, I'm just like, why? You got the upcoming Ghost in the Shell movie, which is such a head scratcher. Why even set it in Tokyo? I mean, I know I'm just not going to see it, but like, why? Like every other extra looks Asian in the movie. And then you have Scarlett Johansson, and then hearing behind the scenes, they try to do CGI tests on her face to make her look Asian. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
I did not know that.
But fuck you.
That's kind of incredible and like not a good way.
Yeah. But like, oh, what? Makeup is too much?
But I will say this, like, maybe you'll agree with the cynical view of this, Morgan. And you know about the industry, etc. at large than I ever will. But the casting of that is to get the random, let's say red state-ish fan in America to go see it, exposed to a Western story, or sorry, like an anime style story that, sure, a lot of us nerds know and love, and it's not like it's its own thing, but maybe to, of course, make money and etc. They'll put a big, a well-known, attractive white woman into the role.
But that's a circular argument. If Hollywood feels that audiences
has to pander.
If Hollywood feels that audiences aren't going to pay to see an Asian face lead a movie, they're never going to cast it. Audiences don't get to know what that movie looks like, so they're going to keep on supporting these movies with that.
That's what I'm kind of
so it's a circular reasoning.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
But look at a movie like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah. It's one of the highest grossing foreign movies, and it's subtitled, and it's all Asian faces. But at the same time, that didn't prevent people from coming to go see it, even in the red states. Sure. You don't get that kind of box office from Strictly the Coast.
I'm trying to be cynical about it, but like, I don't know.
The interest is there. They just need to like take a chance and do it.
To be fair, Kubo did do poorly as far as what it was supposed to do, and I think a lot of that had to do with people that just that would have gone to see it, but just didn't. So to some extent, that's probably somewhat effective. You know, just not going to see it in theaters because you're
gotta
not
hit it
happy
where it
with how
hurts.
it came out.
Right now, there's that movie, The Great Wall, with Matt Damon. It's like, what the fuck?
So here's an interesting thing. This doesn't really explain it, but that movie is, I think, mostly funded by the Chinese government.
Right.
And they wanted Matt Damon in it,
Right.
apparently.
No, that's it. That's like the argument the studio's making. I guess I get that, but at the same time.
Which is like, but I don't understand why. I mean, I guess maybe they think that Matt Damon will just make them more money.
Well, they're thinking in terms of like numbers too. And the thing is with that movie, it is a Chinese production.
Mm-hmm.
The issues that they have there in terms of representation is not the same here.
Right.
And one thing I get tired from hearing about people who are anti-diversity, it's like, oh, I don't watch a Greek movie and wonder where all the black people are. I'm like, well, they don't have the population that we do here. Like these American stories, American films
it's a false
should reflect
equivalency.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
So it's just, I don't know.
I'll just say this about The Great Wall that is specifically, one of our other friends asked me, you gonna go see it? Think it's gonna be good? Yes and no is my answer. No, it's not going to be good. That's kind of why I want to go see it. On its face value as a film.
It looks like an intentional piece of shit. It looks like another Gods of Egypt where you don't have any Egyptians in it. So
regardless of the intents or whatever, the politics surrounding it.
Right.
Like, I think it'll be a good
B
movie.
Exactly. And the director of that is phenomenal too. And it's such a shame. Zhang Zimao, who did Hero, House of Flying Daggers.
Wow, really?
Oh, really?
One of these really notable directors. I'm like, what are you doing?
I did not know that.
You need a paycheck.
That's why
you got a paycheck.
Morgan's got the facts, and that's why we got him on.
One other thing that I wanted to mention from the animated section was a lot of people were upset that Your Name was not nominated. This is an anime movie. It actually surpassed Spirited Away this year for the highest grossing anime movie of all time. And a lot of people were trying to get that into the Oscars under the animated banner, but it didn't actually make it in there. I don't know if you've heard much about this or anything. I think
I haven't, but in terms of the animated category for the Oscars, they're very foreign film averse. Honestly, you have to be a Miyazaki film to get that kind of. It's pretty much a category. It's a category for Pixar to lose.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is.
The best and most amazing description.
And sometimes they earn it. You know, I'm not knocking it. Inside Out. Phenomenal movie. I did like Inside Out, but other times you're like, maybe The Good Dinosaur shouldn't have been nominated. I don't even know if that was, but they're not all winners.
Sure, I get you.
I wish they were more friendly, but then that could extend to a lot of other categories too.
Right. Any other categories you wanted to touch on before we move on to something else? So we did director, we did best picture, director. I didn't do screenplay. I did,
I know said you're up to it.
Actor, actress.
We could finish along with this and then go into, I guess, who I felt should have taken it.
My next one was actually that exact question. Who do you think was snubbed this year?
Okay. Do you want to start with best picture, or you want to build up to that and
go
from other categories?
Here's what I'll say. A lot of people, I guess I'll start off with something and then I'll let you go from there. But I thought The Lobster was underrepresented this year.
Absolutely.
I thought that was an amazing movie.
Incredible.
It only got original screenplay.
Which, well-deserved, but I would stick Colin Farrell in there. I would stick...
Best Picture, I think.
Director.
I can't even pronounce his name. Yorgos Lanthimos. It's a Greek filmmaker. Horribly butchered his name, I'm sure. But I love his work. Yeah.
I was going to say, also, this is kind of a jokey one to some extent, but Deadpool I thought was a great movie, and
you weren't satisfied with the Golden Globe nom for Best Comedy?
I wish it had at least gotten more Oscar nominations than Suicide Squad. Let's just say that.
Fair point. When if anything, for I guess Suicide Squad has probably makeup or
it's makeup. Yeah,
special
effects. It's got
something.
one for makeup, and and even that is bullshit. And there's only 3 contenders in there. And if Suicide Squad wins, I'm gonna go and find people that are
literally going to commit suicide
for this.
You will start a Suicide
and make
Squad.
them pay.
Just the fact that we'll live in a world where you could say the Academy Award-winning film Suicide Squad.
God, no.
Only in Trump's America, man. This is the reality that we're in right now.
Just real quickly, I'll let you go on. But yeah, Suicide Squad gets Steve-O worked up regardless, no matter what. And if it wins, you can in protest, you can literally commit suicide, I suppose, if you wish.
I will say for that category, and this is another one I felt snubbed as so many other ones, the Neon Demon. I fucking loved the Neon Demon, but easily that should have taken that because it's all about modeling and makeup and superficiality, and there's such high detail to attention. I'm like, was this movie just too punk or raw to be even nominated? So I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I know you have having seen your supercut, which actually I'm gonna link in here.
Oh, thank you.
So having seen your supercut for 2016 your favorite films of 2016. I know that you've seen a lot of movies that I actually have not seen, and that you think are much more highly rated than a lot of the movies that even made the cut for Best Picture. So I'm just going to open it up to you. Any movies you want to mention, talk about for whatever categories.
Even after that Supercut came out, I saw a couple more that I would have put on there, and some I flat out just loved. I think a movie that got completely robbed in almost every category aside from original screenplay was 20th Century Women. It's kind of a quasi-autobiographical movie for Mike Mills. It's set in the 70s. He's just in his household for this single mother and some of her tenants, and they're just trying to help raise him. But the movie gets into some really interesting places of just like growing up in America and just gender roles and politics and philosophy and pop culture. It's a fascinating movie.
All the shit that we love and talk about.
Exactly. I think Annette Bening, that is one of the roles of her lifetime that I wish she got a nomination for Best Actress for. So I wish that got more love in all the categories. Another one I really liked was American Honey. That got a lot of nominations at the Indie Spirit Awards, but the Oscars were kind of sleeping on that one. But I really thought that should have gotten more recognition.
Yeah, I really want to see that. I'm looking forward
based on
to
your
it,
assessment as well. Yes, for sure.
Just based on the couple scenes that you showed in that Supercut, really.
Oh, yeah. It's such a dreamy movie.
Yeah.
And it just really captures the feeling of youth so well.
So are you going to do Morgan, are you going to do a post-Oscars Supercut?
I'm glad Arrival got some recognition. I did like that.
Yeah.
I wish Silence got more recognition besides for cinematography, which was great. Rodrigo Prieto, I really liked the cinematography, but I thought that was a really interesting movie, and it shows why he's still a vital filmmaker after all these years.
Right.
You mentioned The Lobster. I really like that one. Neon Demon, I wish in the technical categories. It's a Nicholas Winding Refn movie, and he always, whether you love or hate him, you can't deny visually they look spectacular. Like, I loved Drive. I love Only God Forgives. I loved Bronson. I love all his work. And the reason his movies look as crazy as they do, he's actually partially colorblind. So he'll instruct his team to turn up the saturation to almost the breaking point. But that's why it's like the darkest reds and blues and purples you've ever seen. And I thought Neon Demon was amazing.
That's really cool.
I want to see that. I heard good things about it. I couldn't find, I wanted it when it came out. I was like, it was kind of indie-ish, right? Or like not wide release for sure. I don't think. So, the 2 or so reviews that I saw said it was great, and I want to check it out, but just never got a chance to. So
well worth it. Great soundtrack, great everything.
Yeah, I want to. Actually, one of the other ones that I was thinking of was Green Room.
Green Room was great. I mean, I could easily see Patrick Stewart getting a Best Supporting nom. I thought he was amazing in Green Room. I like Green Room a lot.
Yeah, I want to check that one out as well. I mean, there's a bunch of them. I
mean,
and watching a list would take forever. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just watching a movie in today's day and age of just neo-Nazis getting cut up, it can't help but be gratifying. It was the very cathartic movie to watch in this climate.
Yeah, always, watching neo-Nazis get cut up is always nice.
It'll never get old. I don't know why. Something about it. Can't put my finger on it.
All right. I mean, there's not too much more. Is there anything else you wanted to talk to specifically? Or any other specific thing that you wanted to speak to?
You want to mention?
I guess briefly, I want to touch on the documentary category, which I think I've only seen 3 out of the 5 documentaries. It was OJ Made in America, 13th, and the James Baldwin documentary, I Am Not Your Negro. But 4 out of the 5 filmmakers in this category are African American. So that's one category that's really recognizing black talent. But those 3 documentaries alone, either one of them could take it. I'd be perfectly happy. And each one of them, it's almost you could watch them in tandem with each other. They both touch on a lot of similar themes, which is like the African American experience throughout the 20th century and the current ramifications of it. And each one of them presents it through a different lens. If anything, James Baldwin is through James Baldwin and his writings.
Right.
OJ Made in America is talking about this black celebrity and how that almost shielded him during that whole trial. And I know people are probably like oversaturated with OJ-ness from this past year.
Well,
with
there were like 3 different things from
such an amazing
OJ, right?
sentence.
But each one of them was well worth it.
Sure. I heard they were all great, but like it's such a weird thing that like,
it came now. It's
20
like
years after the fact.
We needed that distance in order to properly put that in context. I remember being like a stupid 12-year-old, I can't believe he got away with it. What bullshit. And you realize like, it was really a referendum on the LAPD and their treatment. It's like, I kind of get it now.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at that verdict, even though you know he did it. And I think that both these works, The People versus O.J. Simpson on FX and O.J. Made in America, present the same case, but obviously one is a dramatization and the other one is like almost a real-time retelling of the case.
Yeah. Right.
It's amazing. And then Ava DuVernay's documentary, The 13th, all about the prison industrial complex
I really
here.
want to see. That's on
Incredible.
Netflix,
That's
right?
on
So
Netflix.
Netflix finally got some Oscar love after getting snubbed last year.
It got it
Beast of No
because
Nation.
Well,
the reason with that, Beast of
never
No Nation, I don't think ever got a theatrical release. I know 13th limited. I think IFC is playing
It did
13th,
get-
and
it
I
did
think
get
that's
a-
one of the qualifiers for it.
Okay.
I think, if anything, theaters are realizing we can't compete with Netflix.
Yeah.
They're losing money hand over fist. You stop looking at them as an enemy, so they'll do that. If anything, the next Scorsese movie is going to go through a similar route. Netflix bought the rights, and at
Oh,
the
really?
same time, it's like, what the hell? Netflix bought the rights to a fucking Scorsese movie, and I'm like, is this the only thing that can get it made now? And it shows you just how scary the current entertainment
is.
I mean,
climate
and
is.
the thing is, Netflix, if they thought it was a good business move, I'm sure they would go to the theaters. The
Totally.
theaters just have to make it worth it for them.
The theaters are
You
the
know?
one that are like boycotting and restricting because the
Yeah.
theaters have their own unions, and
yeah,
it's just
I know. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough. But
Yeah. But 13th, well worth it.
all right, cool. Anything else you want to touch on outside of documentaries? I think we went through a lot of.
covered the big ones and
A lot of the big
more
ones,
specific
yeah.
than we certainly delve into usually.
Yeah, I guess if anything, the Oscars in its own inadvertent way is a political platform where people can touch on issues ranging for society. Last year was definitely with the Oscars So White campaign
Mhm.
about racial representation on screen. I guess this year you can't help but talk about the Donald Trump presidency and how that's having an effect on its citizens. And earlier in his presidency, and this had an effect loosely on the Oscars with his failed attempt at a travel ban, there were a couple nominees who were forbidden from coming into this country, as crazy as it sounds. Even though it wasn't successfully held, they're still choosing to boycott it.
Yeah.
And a part of me, as much as I love the movie love celebration that the Oscars represents, even though you could argue they're not getting the right choice, but at the same time, you can't not recognize that they are bringing attention to the art of
To
cinema.
that, sure.
Yeah, I mean,
At the same time, I guess a part of me wishes that the Oscars wouldn't happen this year strictly as a boycott. There was
Yeah,
a
I would
good,
be okay with that.
there was
really,
an
as well.
AV Club article that was weighing the pros and cons, and it's like, yeah, I could kind of see that. I mean, how much more of a message? This is probably one of the second highest rated nights of TV. And they were like, no, we're not going to do it because of the craziness. How much of a message would that send? And at the same time, it's like,
For sure.
I want to recognize that.
yeah.
Obviously, there will be speeches that will touch upon that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, so I think that the Oscar speeches or Academy Award speeches have always been kind of a platform for
They should do a best speech
political,
award after the
for
award.
political,
and that's nothing
talking
new
about
either.
the landscape of politics. Yeah,
Back in the 70s, you had Marlon Brando hire a Native American
Right.
to win an award on his behalf, and that's still like a clip that gets played.
yep, yeah. I mean, that's a very good point. There's something to be said for if you're a room full of celebrities, for good or for bad, a lot of people are going to listen to you and watch you and see what you do. And
Well, that's what got us into this mess. Everyone on the conservative side, they should stay out of politics. It's like, well, you have a fucking celebrity president that won on that route.
Yeah.
So how are you not going to comment on that?
yeah, that's
He
true.
actually has Donald Trump has SAG credits. He receives royalties every time fucking Home Alone 2 plays on TV. He gets a paycheck.
That's right. I forgot he
It's
was in that.
fucking ridiculous. So don't tell me celebrities should keep their opinions to themselves. They clearly did it and won this country.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up on that note.
On that positive,
a good one.
Salute our celebrity overlords.
We
my
start
friends.
with contention. We end with contention. That's the way these things go.
Mhm.
Morgan, thank you for joining us. Morgan Goldin, filmmaker, writer, podcaster. Is there anything you're working on these days, or anything you want to talk about?
Currently, my writing can be found for Mary Magazine. The first issue you can pick up online. Second issue is coming out soon. My own podcast, Amusing Ourselves to Death. Currently on somewhat of a hiatus.
But check out the backups. They are quite amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we are working to get new episodes soon. And yeah, just writing, working on my own projects, collaborating with other like-minded people. So yeah, just keep on keeping on.
Just being
Awesome.
Renaissance men.
Well, that sounds
Try
great,
to.
man. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks, Morgan.
And that's going to wrap up the MOTScars 2017 for this year.
Go Moonlight.
Yeah, go Moonlight.
Hope Moonlight sweeps everything. I probably won't, but the fact that it's nominated, hopefully will get people to go see it.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have a good one, people.
Editing and engineering by Stephen Ramosi. Music by Christopher Morgan. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes for the shows, and on Facebook and Twitter for updates.